Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of our Tone Plays NetHack series. This is part 4, and we just got back to a shop on the early dungeon levels. We skipped it early on because there was a mimic blocking the entrance, and we were pretty low level, so it didn't look like there was anything game-changing in there, so we just left for the time being, and now we're making our way back. Since we're in the shop now, what we're going to want to do, this is a general store, so this guy will buy essentially any item. This is a great opportunity for us to do some price identification since we have acquired a number of unidentified scrolls and potions and different things, and there's items in here that we can use. In NetHack, being able to identify items and being able to do it without having to do any kind of formal identification, which would basically be scrolls of identify and the spell of identify, is probably one of the most valuable skills you can have. There's things like, you've seen me engrave test wands. You can test different rings in different ways by just putting them on and seeing if their effects work. You noticed I identified my amulet as an amulet of ESP earlier by noticing that I was seeing monsters that were out of line of sight. The different things like that are very valuable. And just so you can identify certain items, which will A, tell you what that item is if it's useful, and B, whittle down the potential items that other unidentified items of that class can be, which can be very helpful. So before we start, let's go and restock and take inventory of where we're at right now. So we're level 5 with about 40 HP, AC 3. Dungeon level 3 at the moment. And what do we have in our inventory? You'll notice the permanent inventory window on our right side hasn't shown up yet. When you first start a game, it doesn't show up until you modify your inventory in some way, so that'll come up soon. And we do start with a good amount of gold since we're a tourist, so that'll be nice if we see anything in here we do want to purchase. So yeah, we've got a handful of scrolls, a bunch of potions, a ring, some wands. Looks like I haven't engrave tested that oak wand yet, which is something we should do. A whistle? I thought I tested that. I may not have named it. We'll have to retest that. I'll wait till I leave the shop. Because of a magic whistle, which teleports your pet to you. I don't want to do that in the shop. My pet will start picking things up and dropping them. Just a preference of mine. It's a little annoying, I guess. I'm Charisma 15, which means I have a base modifier of 1 when I'm purchasing items from shops. If you have poor Charisma, most rolls end up with an additional 1/3 added to the base price of an item when they're purchasing, and some are worse than that and some are better than that, depending on your Charisma. I'm also a tourist, which, people try to take advantage of tourists, so I believe what's going to happen here is he's going to charge an additional 1/3 under the price of any item, and when I'm selling items, instead of offering me half the base price, he's going to offer me 1/3 of the base price. And I'm not going to explain price IDing too much here. I would recommend going to the NetHack wiki page for price identification and going through that. There's definitely a lot of nuances to it. There's additional random surcharges and things they'll add with your buying and selling and whatnot. So I'd recommend going through that. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly, as fast as I can at least, so we don't take up too much time here, price ID everything. And I'm doing this because it's very valuable information to have. I don't necessarily recommend every new player go and price ID everything because, I don't know, it's not always a fun part of the game, to be honest, but it is an important part. But if you feel like you're at a level where you're not getting much value from doing price identification, then, you do you and don't do it. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I think it is one of the things that we can do to increase our survivability long term the most at this point. So, without further ado, let's see what we've got. You'll notice I already scouted this shop for mimics by throwing gold pieces all over the place. That's why there's gold pieces everywhere, which I'm gonna pick up. And I'm gonna start by just picking up everything in the shop that I want to price ID. Or potentially purchase, like this tinning kit. I'm not gonna worry too much about being encumbered right now. Oh, I guess that's something I need to worry about though. I have too much stuff in my bag. Well then, I guess we'll just start now then. So the scroll cost 67, that's a scroll of light. This is the only thing in its base price for their scrolls. Level 3 or 4 spellbook, I believe. Oops. That's something about curses. I can't use the number pad to type numbers in at least in these strings, so you're gonna see me do that by accident a lot. How would I know to name that? Name it 3 or 4. Once you've done a lot of price IDing, you'll notice the patterns and where things are ambiguous and where things aren't. And like I said, I'm not going to explain this too much, so bear with me for a moment. There's a demand for it. Did that one wrong. I'm gonna say if there's a demand for it, maybe we'll do a price identification video at some point, but I think there's enough guides on that already. Something to note, and I believe only in, is that in 361 NetHack, you can't auto pick up items in shops anymore. Actually a little annoying. Well, not annoying, but I actually kind of liked auto picking up items in shops. I wish that was toggleable. It only applies to the items that are owned by the shop. A neat little trick, by the way, that I'll show off here. If you stand over an item in the shop and chat, it'll tell you what the item is. Which I guess only applies, I think older versions of NetHack, like 343, didn't tell you the price right there. I guess that isn't even that important anymore, because now we can see it on the ground. Uh-oh, I got an army of grid bugs and led by a dog coming up. Peaceful? Oh, he's peaceful. Friendly little pup. Ooh, another smoky potion. One thing to be wary of when price IDing in shops or doing anything in shops is scrolls of Scare Monster can turn to dust as you pick them up. If you see 100 base type scrolls and you don't have the money to pay for it, Just be careful dropping and picking them up a lot, because that can happen, and then it'll be on your dime. If you can't pay for it, you might be in a bad situation. Hey, I figured I would try it anyways. So yeah, that's a magic whistle. Oh, there's auto ID now. I think it auto IDs if it teleports your pet. My pet's probably gonna stay off of that pile since there's so many items in it. Something's bound to be cursed in there. So my other whistle, there's only two types of whistles. My other one was not a magic whistle. So I'll just name that tin, which I think we already knew, if I remember correctly. Oh, never mind. Maybe nothing in that pile is... Yeah, nothing is cursed in that pile. I wonder if we can get this guy on the other side of the door. Get our pet out of here. Oh, hey, stole an item for me. This tile right here that I'm standing on is not in the shop, so my pet just dropped something there. He gave it to us. You can spend a lot of time trying to steal things from shops if you want. It's kind of boring to me and tedious, so I don't really do it too much. That chest is intriguing. I assume there's a gem in there, but maybe there's a bunch of other cool stuff. If you're gonna open a chest in a store, you better be very careful if it's trapped. Let's test this one. I'm gonna check it a lot. We can't afford the contents of this chest. One of the container traps makes the chest explode, which would obviously be very bad. Lock in and see what's inside. Yeah, so those gems are what are costing much of the price in here. Oops, I didn't even mean to pull those out. We didn't even get that far. Another smoky potion. I wonder what those are. Oh, I have 3 now. We could totally try and bless all those once we get holy water and see if we can maybe get a lucky smoky potion wish. 150 and 200, those are like the broadest. I guess 100 and then 150 have the most potions, so that could be like really anything. I think that one's more likely to be 200 than 150 though. Could really be either though. Assuming things like that can get pretty dangerous. Go ahead and eat something here. Oh, the food ration. So yeah, I think there's just 2 gems sitting in there. Healing potion, nice. The 50 level potions are, in my mind, just great targets for diluting. So even if you don't know what they are, I'm usually pretty open to diluting those potions. We get a dwarf here coming in. Probably about to dig into this shop. The potion of booze is actually really helpful from those 50 base value potions though. It causes confusion, which is nice for doing certain scroll things. Alright, and then let's see what we have in our inventory. And I'll just do these one at a time. Oh, weird. How's this gonna work? Huh. Yeah, so since we're a tourist, they're gonna offer us 1/3 the base price. So this is 100 base price scroll. He's offering us 1/3 and then also taking an extra 25% tax off of that. I believe. In another world, that could be base price 50, because normally what they do is just give you 50%. Hang on now. Oh, I guess this is confusing. Because this is something that could also be either. Usually when you see a 10 sale price, it's half, so the base price would be 20, which is identify. But I think this is actually a base price 80, which would be 25% off would be 60, and then 1/3 of that would be, oh no, that would be 20. Do I have my Taurus rules mixed up? Let's test it on something we know. I'm confusing myself. Oh geez, and now look what this dwarf's doing. He's hostile. Interesting. I don't want him picking up potentially one of these wands, although neither of those wands were 175, which is the offensive class, so I don't think he could really hurt us with them. Yeah, we need to kill this dwarf. I'm gonna throw my darts at him. Oh, easy. Maybe I should have killed him outside the shop. Oh, I totally should have, because he has great armor. Yeah, so that wall's gonna close itself up. And I couldn't remember how that's treated when there's items in there. So I basically waited for him to come in so I could get my dart back easily. But man, I definitely should have killed him outside, because this dwarf has a lot of stuff I'd like to buy back now. The mithril coat, the hard shoes, and the hard hat could give us some great AC right now, potentially. We'll have to check those prices and see if any of that's enchanted. And the broad short sword and the either that or the broad pick would be a pretty nice melee weapon for us right now, I think. We'll make that decision when we get to it. And then it looks like our dart mulched anyways, so we're not getting our dart back. Yeah, I should have killed him outside. I knew what I was doing, but I think in hindsight I didn't handle that well to begin with. Oh well. Like I said, we have plenty of money, so it's not a big deal. And see, there it goes. The wall closed up. So maybe it was a good idea to kill him inside, because I forget what would have happened to those items. I may have had to kick them out. Wait, did I sell these items? Oh, he offered me 10 gold pieces for 2 scrolls. Which means he was offering me 5 each. Could be consistent with identify, actually. Aha, okay. Well, forget everything I said earlier. My probably like 3-minute diatribe. So yeah, so identify would be base price 20. Man, I hate price IDing with tourist. So since 361 shops some shops will always deduct an additional 25% off of your um, sell prices. It used to just be like random per item. So yeah, between that and the tourist tax, these are identifying. That explains a lot. So identify is another scroll that's in its own. It's the only item in its base price value class. It's an easy one to identify, which is fantastic because once you have that, you can really just start identifying other things without price IDing if you wanted to. So if you want to skip the whole price ID thing, you can just, figure out what identify is and go from there. Although I'd recommend, if you are going to ignore price IDing, just to keep an eye out for scrolls and potions and rings that are base price 300, wands that are base price 175 and 500, and maybe just go, and then identify scrolls, and then just go in from there. And you can go look up what all those things are if you want to know why. All right, what else do we have here? $13 for my emerald potion. Maybe base price 50, I think. Swirly potion, same thing. So we're getting all these base price 50 scrolls or potions out of the way, which is actually really nice because I think we have an altar up in the dungeon, and we can make a. I don't think it's co-aligned, but we can make a holy water. We can dilute these and make some holy water using it. It's nice to know that we're not gonna be diluting valuable potions. Swirly 50. I'd argue that booze is somewhat valuable. But the risk reward thing, if we just wanted to dilute all of our level, base price 50 potions to get a bunch of holy water and we miss out on a couple of booze potions in the process, I do not mind. 0.38, what's that gonna be? Or I mean just 38, not 0.38. I actually use a calculator a lot of the times when I'm price IDing. Especially when you're getting weird prices like this because you're a tourist. If you do it a lot, you'll know what most of them are. Just from memory, basically. We got this wand. Alright, cool. Everything in our inventory in the shop has been price identified. Yeah, I hope I didn't screw any of that up since I'm a tourist. I think we did that all right. So, few things here. Let's look at what these armors are. So you get plus 10 gold value to the base price for every positive enchantment point a piece of armor or weapon has. So we can kind of discern whether some of these armors are positively enchanted, which is nice. So the hard hat, which is a dwarven helmet, is going to be base price 20. That looks enchanted, actually. That should come up to about 25 or so with our normally. And that's gonna be a +2 hard hat probably, which is really nice. The hard shoes, which are dwarven shoes or dwarven iron shoes, I should say. I guess they're just called iron shoes. Those are gonna be base price 16. So that seems like that's a normal price for those. The mithril coat looks normal. That should be what, base price? $240? Yeah. Which would mean these are 320. Yeah, so that lines up as a +0 set. I'm gonna buy all of those because our armor right now is an Iron Skull Cap. Now this +1 Iron Skull Cap / Orcish Helm would be better than a +0 Dwarvish Helm. It's lighter, and then since it's +1, we can't lose all of the AC from it rusting, taking any kind of corrosion damage. But yeah, the Dwarvish Mithril Coat is better AC than our Scale Mail, and it's lighter, so we're definitely gonna go for that. Actually, our high boots are gonna be better than the hard shoes. They're the same AC and they're lighter, and they're not prone to rusting, which is more common early on in my experience. So they're a little more robust against corrosion types here. Once you get like into the late game, you get fire traps and stuff. It becomes a little more likely that you lose AC to the leather and cloth armors burning than you do rusting. So I think I'm gonna go and buy this mithril coat and the hard hat, and that'll be all we do here. Oh yeah, then we have to decide, do I want to go with the broad pick or the Dwarvish short sword? So Taurus can get, I believe, skilled in short sword. No, they can get expert actually, and they can get basic and pickaxe. The short sword is one-handed, while the broad pick is two-handed. And the damage difference is going to be, I believe, a Dwarvish short sword does D7/D8, so that's damage versus small and large respectively, which ain't bad. I would be very okay with that. While the Dwarvish Mattock / broad pick, those are the same item, we'll be doing D12, and then versus large, it does a lot. It'll be D8 + 2D6. It's pretty huge damage output. So I guess it's going to be whether we want two-handed weapon that we can only get basic skill in that does a lot of damage, or a one-handed weapon that does pretty solid damage and we can get high skill in. I'm just gonna go with the broad short sword for now. Maybe I'll come back and get this this Dwarvish Mattock / broad pick later, if I feel like our damage isn't keeping up. But I think being able to hit things, and then if we can get expert in this, we'll get a decent to hit and damage bonus, which would be nice. And then we can also wear a shield with it, which might be valuable. We need some AC later, or we can even start two-weaponing once we're comfortable with our two-hit, which would be a lot of damage output. So let's buy the Dwarvish short sword, the Dwarvish mithril coat, and the hard hat here. I'm gonna buy that whistle, the magic one, because that'll be very valuable for having a pet. Then I'm actually going to use my pet to curse test these in the shop before I purchase them. Let's see. We want all of these. Can't hold the whistle. Drop this dart that's not stacking. Wow, 11 gold? Guess it's an enchanted dart. I'll just sell you guys. I don't have a bag or a container, so I only have so much inventory space. I can't just hold one dart. Alright. I'm gonna end up buying this whistle anyways. Let's drop these things so we can have my pet test them. And then let's get my pet in here. Alright. Dwarvish Mythal Coat. Not cursed. Thank you for letting me know that. Faithful Hound Meatball. You can have this Rusty Scale Mail. Looks like my pet walked onto, I don't remember what was down there, the helm. So, I didn't see a message. Let's double check our message log. Yep, so that is non-curse as well. Pick up that hard hat. I'm pretty sure this is probably blessed. That's going to be enchanted. And then, where you go, Meatball? Check this. Nice. So yeah, none of that was cursed. Let's pay for everything we have. I'm hitting the $ key there. It tells you how much you owe and how much money you have. And I'm just going to skip itemized billing and buy everything here. Take off this skull cap, put on the iron helm. Oh, it's only +1, so I did my math wrong there. Iron helm. Got a -1 AC. Looking good. Mythal coat can't get corroded, which is awesome. You still carrying around that sword? He'll just steal it for us. Oh no, he has the gem. Drop that. Probably right here. Ooh, something else in that pile is cursed. Perhaps the broad pick? Having a cursed two-handed weapon is a huge pain, so if that broad pick's cursed, we'd like to know. I don't know what else is in that pile there, but something in there is cursed. Additionally, I'm gonna want to buy the tinning kit, which we discussed last video. These wands could be potentially useful, but I'm not gonna bother right now. I'm not gonna buy any of the potions. We're at our inventory limit, and picking up this tinning kit is probably gonna burden us, maybe. Nope. Nice. Hopefully this broad sword doesn't. Sweet. I'm just gonna buy all this stuff. And this is all we're gonna take right now. And yeah, let's start training up this short sword. This will be a solid melee weapon for us going forward. We don't have to waste all our darts. Yeah, so playing Taurus, one of the big goals early on is to get a melee weapon. I might reiterate that at the beginning of the next video, because I think I'm gonna leave this video on its own as a shopping, price IDing excursion. We're at about 30 minutes right now. Is what I try to keep these episodes to, and that might be a boring episode to a lot of people. So let's leave here, shut this door, and I think that's all we're gonna do in that shop. Do I want to sell anything? Just for money's sake? No, not really. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and leave it at that. One more thing I want to do, actually. We'll do at the beginning of the next video. I want to price ID those spell books. Because if they're non-cursed and level 1 or 2, I'm probably just going to read them. So, yeah, let's call it here then. So, what, short video recap. We price ID'd everything, and we bought some things in the store we wanted. We got our AC up from that dwarf, which was very kind to give us some fantastic dwarvish items, which you normally have to go to the mines for. Killing dwarves in the mines is a great way to get AC early on. You can't always bank on a mythal coat, but just the iron helm and the iron shoes will go a long way. And you usually want to find a pickaxe and a dwarvish, either a pickaxe or a dwarvish mattock, just as a digging tool. And the mattock can be a great weapon for a lot of rolls early on too. So that was very nice for that dwarf to just present himself to us like that. We had to buy him back from the shopkeeper who claimed his items, even though we did all the hard work killing him. But yeah, let's pick up next video. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.